We're going to imagine that our toes are just widening away from one another. Like if they were my fingers, they'd be doing this, and then they'll come back together. And for each of us, this is going to be a different experience. That's okay. Just move with what's available to you. If it's very tricky, that's fine. That's normal. Some people will find that it's helpful for them the next time they're sitting to use their hands to help spread and bring the toes back together, just getting a little bit of movement there. So if this feels like it's not possible for you in a standing position, you are welcome to try that. Let's do one more. And then we'll let that release. Let's find our standing foundation. So let's lift the toes off of the mat. And as we do that, we'll remember again, we've got this point behind our big toe, this point behind our baby toe, and then the 2 points on the heels. And we're going to feel for that support, or for our weight to be equal between those 4 points. And you'll notice that's over the arch as well. Our knees are soft, straight, but soft. And we'll stack our pelvis or our pelvic floor over the arches of the feet. And then we'll stack our ribs or our diaphragm over pelvis and pelvic floor. And we'll gently glide the chin towards the throat to find that alignment of roof of the mouth over diaphragm. And then once you're here, just check in with the body. If I've created any rigidity in you or discomfort with all those cues, I want you to just wiggle, shake it out, and find that place where you have comfort. Let's take a couple of breaths here. We'll inhale through the nose if it feels okay for you. And we'll exhale, let that release. Notice what part of the body is moving with your breath. Inhale. Exhale, release. Let's add our arm. As we inhale, we'll float the arms up and overhead. And as we exhale, circling around our angel arms. Arms are in front of the body. That's going to feel a little bit nicer in the shoulder for most of us. Inhale up. And exhale, open. Let's do one more. Let's just let the breath, we're still going to breathe, but let's let that breath return to a little bit more of natural depth. And let's add some footwork. Now, if you'd rather do the footwork without the arms, then you can do that. If you want to continue with the arms, you can do that, or we can combine them together. As the arms float overhead, we'll lift the heels. Whoops, I'm tipping over. We'll lift the heels. And then we'll open, lower the heels, and then we'll try bending the knees. And I'm doing this with my, like I'm sliding down a wall. So different than the squat position we sometimes do in class. And we'll push the feet to straighten the legs. Let's try that again. We'll inhale up and open, let the heels lower, and then we'll bend the knees. And that alignment that we were practicing in standing foundation, let's see if we can play with that as we move from heel lifts to knee bends. And if you're like me and you're wobbling and flopping all over the place, that's totally fine. Lots of benefit, even when we're wobbly. The goal of balance work isn't for perfection. Let's do one more here. Let's lift, inhale. And we'll open, bending the knees. Let's bring the arms into a prayer pose, and we'll have the thumbs sort of up against the breastbone, and we'll feel for the hips to be shining forward like if they were car headlights. They're going to stay shining forward, and we're going to rotate from the bottom rib up. And so our breastbone, or where our hands and nose are, is sort of angling off to the corner. And we'll come through center. Let's add an inhale as we do that. Inhale, rotate. And exhale, release. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, release. Inhale, rotate. And exhale, release. And we're going to put the arms down, and let's just explore this movement. See what it feels like to rotate without any cues from me. And we'll just go from side to side. Notice what that feels like. Do what your body's asking of you. Good. And we'll come through center. Bringing the elbows into the waist, arms are bent. And we're going to open, the back palms to the back wall. And then let's rotate so the thumbs come towards that back wall. And in this position, we're constantly thinking of this opening to the back. And we're going to start shifting. Now, I do want to say that even though we're constantly thinking of this rotation, I taught this to my husband this week, last weekend in his Pilates class, and I noticed that he was really pushing hard. And I said to him, does that feel uncomfortable? And he said, yeah, it really does. It's actually kind of hurting me. And I said to him, okay, I want you to continue to energize in that way, but find the place where it feels comfortable. Because when we get into that place where we're really holding and it hurts and it's rigid, we're losing a lot of the benefit of the movement. So it might look different than what mine looks like, but you're going to just listen to your body. Good. Let's lower that down. What's fun about that, let's circle the shoulders. It's just showing the arm bone a different position to be in the shoulder socket. Let's circle again. For so many of us, our arm bones sit forward in the socket, which is fine, but our body's just like feedback from lots of different positions. Let's turn our palms facing to the back wall. And let's imagine that we've got these nice wide collarbones. And we're going to keep the collarbones nice and wide as we press the arms back. And we'll turn and look over one shoulder. And we'll turn and look over the other shoulder. We'll come through center. We'll let that release. Let's shrug the shoulders up. And we'll exhale, let them soften down. We're going to press the arms back, collarbones nice and wide. Let's turn and look over one shoulder. Turn and look over the other shoulder. Let that release. Let's come through center. Now, if that press is not feeling good, inhale up. Exhale down. You're just going to move the head or maybe press back a little bit less. Turn and look over one shoulder. Turn and look over the other shoulder. Back through center. Let's do one more. We'll inhale, lift the shoulders up. Exhale, imagine that tension draining from the neck right down the shoulder like a bead of water, and it's just going to roll right off the fingertips. And then pressing back shoulder or collarbones rather nice and wide. And then let's turn and look over one shoulder. We'll turn and look over the other shoulder. We'll come through center. Let's do one more shoulder circle here. Let's bring our right foot and we're going to place it on top of the left foot. So the arch of the right foot sitting on the top part of the foot. I don't know, the top part of the arch. I don't know what that part of the body's called. And we're going to take a hand, and I invite you to place that hand on the side of your left leg, sort of in that place if you had a seam down the center, just slightly behind that seam. And then we're going to notice that we've got this dynamic alignment going. So you're going to be constantly shifting because that's what we do as humans. But we're just feeling for this shoulder, rib, pelvis, ankle. That's going to help us with balance. And then we're going to keep ribs center. Let's shift the pelvis to the side. Doesn't have to be a huge movement. And then right where our hand is, as we pull that in, just see if you can feel any change of muscle tone there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Doesn't matter either way. I'm just drawing your attention there in case you do notice something. Coming back in, let's do two more here. Just waking up the hip stabilizers. These are the muscles that are super helpful for us when we're walking. And so they're great exercises to do daily to help us with walking for life. Let's switch feet. Let's take the left foot. We'll place it on top of the right. Hand is on the side behind that seam in the pants if you're comfortable there. Ribs are going to stay center. Let's let the pelvis shift. And then we'll pull in, stack up. Notice we're stacked right on top of that thigh bone now. Let's try that again. If this position is tricky balance-wise, I'm going to invite you to just grab a chair or stand near a wall, and you're just going to use that for support. The purpose of the exercise isn't for balance, so use that if you need to, so that you can get the benefit of the hip stabilizers activating. Coming back in. I've lost count. Let's do one more. And in. Let's bring the feet back underneath us. Let's notice we can still lift and lower our toes. We're going to go into a little bit of balance work, shifting weight from one side to the other. So again, feel free to use a wall, a chair, even for some people, a like dowel stick or broomstick can be helpful. Let's shift our weight to the right foot, and we're just going to peel that heel up, and you can either stay here, we can come to tiptoes, or we can come all the way to the calf. And then we'll bring that foot down. We're going to shift the weight to the other side. We're going to peel this foot up. Find the place that feels like the just right challenge for you. and then we'll come down. So now we are trying to challenge our balance. We're staying right on top of this thigh bone. So we just woke up those hip stabilizers to help us find that in this position. And down, peeling up. Let's do one on each side and let's hold, or I invite you to hold for 10 seconds or whatever length you're comfortable with. Let's peel up and I'll count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming down. You might have noticed I was moving a bit there. I encourage you to do the same. We don't have to be rigid statues. Allow your body to find that responsiveness. Let's shift our weight to the other foot, peeling up, counting down from 10. I'm going to count with my fingers. So this responsiveness that our body can do is what helps us with falls, helps us keep our balance on slippery surfaces. Last one, and let's lower the foot. Good. Let's float our arms up in front and we'll bring our attention to our shoulder blades. So if you recall, our shoulder our shoulder blades are on our back. If this was my shoulder blade, this would be the bottom tip and it's facing onto your ribs. And the shoulder blades can move in multiple directions. One of the directions they can move is out, away from one another, and then they can come back in closer together. That's the movement we're going to try right here. So we'll float the arms up in front and let's reach the fingertips forward. Feel the shoulder blades widening. I'm making up lots of words tonight. And then let's draw the shoulder blades closer together and you'll feel the arms respond. So actually, rather than reach with your fingers, let's drive this movement from the shoulder blades. Shoulder blades widen, and because of that, you'll feel your arms reach forward. And then initiate with the shoulder blades to come back. And you can try it that way with shoulder blades initiating. And then if you want, you can try with fingertips initiating. And see if it feels different. Maybe it does or maybe it doesn't. And see which way you like best. And then just tuck that into the back of your head for your own knowledge. Let's shake that out. We're going to do one more standing exercise before we come to the ground. This one is on the wall. Again, I invite you to stay exactly where we are, or if you want to try this against a wall, you can. So we'd bring our palms towards the wall, and then you can stand on top of your, if I can find my, there we go, on top of your feet, ribs stacked over hips. You can lift and lower toes, and then you can slowly start to back away, and you're just going to find the place that feels like the just right challenge for you. There's no right or wrong to this. And then we'll keep the elbow straight. We're going to feel the shoulder blades get closer together. Breastbone is going to go towards the wall, and then we'll push the wall away. Feel the shoulder blades get wide on the back. Coming in, pushing away, coming in. It's been a while since I shared this little tidbit, so I will share this as well for you, that for some of us, this muscle between the shoulder blades that helps us draw the shoulder blades closer together, they're actually starting to show in some, like science, when they look at bodies. Gosh, I'm having a brain thing. Let's let that release. When they look at bodies who have died, they're starting to see that some of us have actually evolved out of having that muscle. So if that feels really tricky to bring your shoulder blades closer together, who knows? Maybe you're one of those people, or maybe it's just an area that we haven't used very much recently. So, but I just like to share that with people because it's interesting and it provides a different perspective if it's hard for you.